What's up, nail geeks, and welcome back to another collab video for April. This month is turning out to be quite packed for collabs, for collections. There's so much to check out. I have one last collab for you all for April, and we are going to check out the little box of horrors. If you're new to indie polish, if you're new to collab polishes, all that good stuff, Little Box of Horrors LBOH is a monthly collab. It used to be, I think, every other month, maybe quarterly. Don't quote me on that. But as of 2024, it is a monthly collab now. So we have a core theme, and the makers make their pretties off of inspirations for that. So for April, we've got the theme Stephen King. We've got some really pretty polishes to check out, including some house polishes for the website and lots to look at. So without further ado, let's dive right in. And first up is Baroness X. This is the Gold Room, described as a chocolate base fluid art polish with gold metallic sheen. This one's 11 with a cap of 45 bottles. So we are doing the usual on the channel, and we are just speeding through my tutorial. I use a small silicone mat. I was gifted this through Baroness X themselves, and you can get them on her shop if you want to find these. I just make a mess of cream polish and then mix it in with the fluid art polish. Just let it fluid itself, and then I let it dry down. This specific decal I let dry down for about 2 days, and then I use Baroness X's Hydromancy top coat to re-wet it. I let it get tacky for about 30 to 40 minutes, and then I'm able to peel it up, and then I clean it up. This is it. You want to use a base coat or a sticky base coat of some type to make sure that your decal is going to stick to your nails. Cut it the way you want, and I use softened acetone with Baroness X's acetone antidote, and that way it saves my skin from all of this, because I am currently having another eczema flare-up. I don't know what's causing it, but I want to be as careful as possible exposing my skin to acetone and the like. If you choose to wear the Gold Room by itself, you absolutely can. I would suggest 3 coats and a top coat of your choice. It dries down semi-gloss, so I think whatever you wanted to top it off with to protect it is perfect. And Chamaeleon's got some goodies for us this month. This is Bleak Town, described as a soft off-white base when inside that turns into a dark purple when in the sun. This is a silver polish. This one's $13.50 with a cap of 30 bottles. Now, I did see in the Facebook group, since I am posting this just a touch behind, I had a few polishes arrive to me late, but it is what it is. I'm here within the pre-order window, and I did see that this one was restocked along with the other 3 that she's got. So if you're wanting it, I would grab it, as these are already restocked in the shop if they're still available by the time I get this video up. I spoke to Valerie about Bleak Town, and she did say that she's going to tweak the formula a little bit so that it is a touch more opaque than what you're seeing on my video for your bottle. I am demonstrating the purple that you're going to see in the sun. You can also make it transition with a nail lamp like what I'm doing there. Overall, this has a very milky type finish to it. I would suggest 2, possibly 3 coats and a glossy top coat to seal it up. And Chamaeleon's next polish is Church the Cat. This is described as a dark gray when cold to off-white when warm thermal, with a variety of black and golden hollow glitters. This one's $13.50 with a cap of 40 bottles. Yet another one that was restocked. So we have another jelly formula. It's very squishy on application. I went in just a touch on the lighter side to prevent any over buildup. It has a wonderful pond effect from the glitters, and overall it takes on this true milky sort of finish. Really pretty. And again, another month that I'm complimenting Chamaeleon on these unique thermal color combinations. I love it when they are so obvious between the cold and the warm state. I'm going to suggest 2 to 3 coats for this one too, and a glossy top coat to seal it up. And the third one is Eerie Dreamscapes. This one is described as a dark blue and cold to medium blue and warm thermal, filled with silver hollow glitters in various sizes. This one's $13.50 and also has a smaller cap. The formula for Eerie Dreamscapes is also jelly-like, but it has a heavier viscosity to it. So honestly, I think 2 normal coats works just as fine, though if you have wide load nail beds like myself, I chose to take it up to a 3rd coat. I liked the plumpness from the 3rd coat, but in retrospect, I probably could have stopped this at the 2nd. You'll need to finish with a glitter smoothing top coat and a glossy top coat, as this will have just a touch of thirstiness and a bit of texture from those glitters. Totally worth it. This is so gorgeous, and the large particle type of sparkles you get from those glitters are so pretty. This has a almost old school like feel to it. I really enjoyed this one. And Chamaeleon's last offering for this month is Sleepless. This one's described as a black jelly base with red hollow glitters in various sizes and a scattering of silver reflective glitters. This one's also $13.50. Sleepless also has that really strong jelly-like feel. This also has that incredible, almost thickness, more of a viscosity. I don't want to say thickness, as it wasn't impossible to use and it wasn't difficult to use at all. But you'll want to be mindful of overbuildup here too, especially because we've got chunkier sort of glitters. Go in for 3 incredibly light coats or 2 normal coats. I would go in very thin personally because we've got reflective glitters happening here. This is vampy good, and the red glitters give off this beautiful contrast against that black base. You'll need to use a glitter smoothing top coat and a glossy top coat. Hearts and Promises has I'm Your Number One Fan. This is a blurple base with green and purple shifting chameleon shimmer. Price is $13, and there is a cap of 200 bottles. Another stunner from Hearts and Promises. Across the board, she's really just bringing it this month. I've seen all of her collab polishes, and then I'm working on the PPU video this week too. And yeah, she is nailing it, pun intended. I'm Your Number One Fan has a jelly formula. You can go in for 3 normal coats. Dry down time was great. My wide load nails required that 3rd coat. You can stop at the 2nd coat, but personally, I wanted the maximum shimmer payoff for my nails, and I always like that thicker appearance. It does dry down flat, so I did use a glossy top coat to smooth it out, and this is just really shimmery good. Gin & Berries has Fun Run. This is described as a teal jelly base with gold, green, blue shimmer and a touch of hollow micro flakes. This one's $13 with a cap of 200 bottles. Speaking of maker just bringing it this month too, Gin & Berries offerings for PPU, I think Polished Gamers Box, this one, and HHC, all very, very pretty. This is no exception. This is incredibly flattering. It's got a nice glow to it that's got this golden cast from that shimmer. Very, very pretty. At really, really extreme angles, you'll see a bit of a blue shift. That's when you're looking at your nails straight on. I'm going to suggest 3 light coats or 2 normal, heavier sort of coats for opacity and a glossy top coat, and you're good to go. Lemming Lacquer brings us the Langoliers. This is I know I said that wrong, described as a turquoise jelly base with green to gold magnetic pull, hollow flecks, and silver reflective glitters. This one's $13.25 with a cap of 100 bottles. So we have a interesting type of magnetic polish. I feel like I have swatched so many magnetics this month, and I'm here for it. These are really pretty. Now, the Lemming looks stunning unmagnetized. It's almost like a darker cousin to the Gin & Berries. But I'm going to strongly suggest magnetizing this one because that's just the magical pop. It's just gorgeous. This has a ton of movement from the magnetic pigment, and it reacts really well to the magnetic top coat if you magnetize polishes like yours truly. It dries on flat, so you'll want to use a glossy top coat. Make sure to magnetize your glossy top coat layer 2 to seal it in, and it's just beautiful. Luna Lacquer brings us Firestarter. This is a black base with red to orange shifting shimmer, burnt red flakes, and hollow. This one's $12 with a cap of 100 bottles. Firestarter has a heavier type formula to it, and because of that, I stopped at 2 coats, which those of you who follow along with me quite a bit know that 2 coats is usually an outlier for me, and that's saying something. So this has a beautifully rich formula. It dries down very heavily flat, so you'll want to finish with maybe a thin layer of a glitter smoothing top coat in addition to a glossy top coat to plump it up and get it to just glossify. And Paradox brings us Rose the Hate. This is an ultramarine blue base with hollow silver stripe magnetic pigment and hollow and gold flakes. Price is $13.50, and there is no cap. A lot of you on my HHC video this month said you really enjoyed the Paradox, and I have to say, I think the Paradox for Little Box of Horrors is like a distant cousin to the HHC. It's just the color itself is different, but I think overall the feel, how the magnetic pigment looks, all of that is very, very similar. So if you liked that one, you'll definitely want to pick up this one. This is beautiful. It's vibrant. I love ultramarine blue bases like this. They're just so popping and so springy and summery. It's just lovely. You'll want to finish with a thicker glossy top coat as it does dry down flat, and you want that nice juicy jello looking appearance. Now we have some house polishes that are going to go along with duos with Wicked. I figured I'd show you all the paradoxes themselves because they are house creams. So the first one is Mr. Jingles. This is described as a silky green cream. I do agree with that. I wore it at one coat, but in real life, when I wore creams, even creams like this that are basically one coater polishes, I will still wear them at two incredibly thin coats to plump it up. The next one, they are all going to laugh at you. This one is described as a silky orange. I do think this is more of a neon mac and cheese. It has an almost identical formula to Mr. Jingles. So because of that, I was just showing how I would wear it in real life. I do a thin coat and then another thin coat, and it just, to me, it evens it out and gives me that thicker appearance I'm looking for. But you can absolutely stop at one coat for either of these. You'll just want to go in a touch heavier. Now, another house polish from Paradox that's going to be in the shop is the Fog. This one's described as a matte white jelly that glows in the dark. This one is what I would consider a milky type of finish. It's got a bit of a harsh dry down, so it will 100% dry super, super matte. My full hand shot right here is right after I polished, so it does have a bit of a glossy sheen to it. The matte effect is more representative in my actual photos here, and it does glow red in the dark. Pretty cool looking. And Penelope Luz has Mr. Mercedes. This is a white curly with red, blue, and black flakies. Price is $13, and there's a cap of 200 bottles. This is super smooth, curly goodness. It's got a fantastic pond effect. The flakes are very obvious in person. You'll see them layered in between your coats. And because of that, I went up to a third coat just to maximize the plumpness, maximize the flaky payoff, all that good stuff. And I used a very thin coat of a glitter smoothing top coat underneath my glossy top coat, as this did have a bit of thirstiness to it. This is so pretty, and I think it's going to be really cool for summer and say 4th of July manis, things like that. Penelope Luz also has a second offering this month. This is the Green Miles and is described as a dark turquoise with intense purple shimmer. This one's 13 with a cap of 200 bottles. This is glorious and is so much flirting with being a one coater hollow. It is stunning. I think on my full hand shot and on my photos, you can kind of see the blue shimmer. The blue shimmer is just as strong to me as the holographic effect here. You can kind of see it there. It's just lovely. It's got this bluish sort of cast, regardless of your lighting situation. I think you can kind of see it on my photos here where my light marks are. It's just really pretty. Super ultra smooth formula. I think 2 light coats is perfect. Can't rave about it enough. And here is Wicked's duos with Paradox. The first one is the Carrie duo. Wicked is bringing us another crackle, which the whole brand itself is a house brand for crackle polish, if you didn't know. And this one you can get by itself. The crackle is 15 and the cream is 13. The crackle itself is a multi-chrome type base. It's really obvious in its multi-chrome effect. You'll see a purple to red to gold shift at more extreme angles. And the next duo from Wicked and Paradox, this one's going to go with Mr. Jingles. This one is Delacroix and is described as a purple, pink, green to gold multichrome. Again, you can get the crackle and the cream separately, or you can get them together. There is a cap if you choose to get them together for that. Now, both of the duo Wickeds, I would suggest going in very light to maximize your crackle effect, as these are loaded up with pigment. So just a really thin coat. Don't even try to be a perfectionist about it and let it do its thing. Once it dries down, it'll start to crackle like that. They dry down incredibly harsh, so you may want to use a glitter smoothing top coat in addition to your glossy top coat. And then Wicked is also bringing us a standalone crackle polish. This one's Hope and is part of her charity polish. This is a light teal blue shimmer with a touch of hollow crackle. This one has a heavier type feel to it like the other two, but it's even heavier in my opinion because it's more of a shimmer type finish. So you'll want to make sure you are going light on your coats. $3 of every bottle sold is going to be donated to feedthematch.org. And then lastly, we've got Zombie Claw. This is Power of Belief, described as a turquoise base with electric blue-green shimmer, reflective silver glitters, and black flakes. This one's $13.50 with a cap of 75 bottles. This is so pretty, and for being a flaky filled polish, I know Zombie Claw's been really just going ham with these black flakes. For having it in its formula, I have to say I was impressed with how smooth it was. Usually it's pretty chunky when you get these flakes, but no issues with that. I'm going to suggest going in for 2 coats because it is heavier, denser on the formula. You will need a glitter smoothing top coat and a glossy top coat, as this will have texture and thirstiness. And we're going to finish this suspense with the Will It Topper segment. This is where I use a black swatch stick to demonstrate if polishes have layering capabilities. This month we have a lot of variety and finish for Little Box of Horrors, at least the ones that I got sent. There's quite a bit. Baroness X works, but it's a bit on the more opaque side, so up to you. The Chamaeleons, I wouldn't layer these. I don't know. I feel a certain way about them. They have such a juicy sort of appearance when worn alone that sure, you could layer the jellies, especially the thermals, over a lighter color and it'll work, but I don't know, not my preference. I think they're so jello-like by themselves. Same thing with Eerie Dreamscapes. You can see the contrast between both of the warm and the cold states, but I don't know. I like it how it looks by itself. Sleepless works over black too. I think this is the only way you could probably layer this one because it's a black jelly, but this would work if you wanted to conserve your bottle. Hearts and Promises is beautiful over a dark color. I think you can get away with dark purples, dark blues, and you'll exploit that shimmer even better. Jen and Berries was a surprise for me. I was very interested to see how that base color was going to pop, and it's mostly shimmer goodness over black. So I think matching dark colors works, and the same thing with the Lemming. Though honestly, it muted the backdrop, so I don't know. I liked how dramatic it was, I should say, by itself. The Luna is incredibly opaque, so it works. You'll just vamp it up if you do a darker type of undie to it. And the Paradox works too, but you're muting that beautiful bright blue. But it does give you a galaxy effect, so up to you. But personally, I don't know. Muting a blue is like horrible in my opinion. Mr. Mercedes is too crelly in the way I see it. So personally, I would not top it. Same thing with the Green Mile. This is such a beautiful, shimmery hollow. I feel like you're dehorning a unicorn by putting it over an undie. The Zombie Claw worked beautifully. It does absolutely topper and pass the test. I think you can do a lot with this, especially over mermaidy sort of colors. So apparently this is the second time Stephen King has been a LBOH inspiration. So that's pretty neat. And it was backed by popular demand. So I can see why, because the makers really knocked it out for these. There are so many pretty ones this month. The pre-order is going to start April 18th. And it's going to run until April 30th. I'm going to have all of this information broken down in the description box below, including links to Little Box of Horrors website, where to shop, and the Facebook group if you want to join that and see additional swatches, all that good stuff. Typical to the other collab videos I've done, I just wanted to note that what you see in this video or any of my collab videos are the makers that chose me to represent their polishes. So there are many, many others to check out. Lots and lots of goodies. So as always, if you enjoyed the video, please like and subscribe. Thank you so much for watching.